guys, welcome back here to The Fishing Teacher. Appreciate you guys swinging by the channel and checking out today's episode. And guys, today I want to have a discussion on what is the worst day of the week to go bass fishing on, talk about why that is, talk about what the best day of the week is, because the time of the day, not the time of the day, but the time of the week that you go bass fishing, a specific day, especially if you fish on public bodies of water, has a huge impact on the mood and the personality of the fish. And we're going to get into that in today's video. And also, if you have to go fishing on this one particular day, I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice that'll help your success on it here. Also, guys, before we get started, you may have heard me talking about it this week, but I just wanted to clue you guys in on a bait I've been catching some good fish on lately, and that's this Megabass sleeper craw. Crawdad imitating bait, guys, from Megabass. I pitch and flip this thing. I usually put it like on 17-pound fluorocarbon line, pitch and flip it around any shallow water target this time of year in the spring. Absolutely deadly. It's got a keel weight on the bottom. It's got the hook buried in the middle of it there where it's invisible. The pinchers float up in the air, so they float up, and when it's sitting on the bottom like it's fighting the bass like that. So I'll put this sleeper craw link and my tackle warehouse link in this video description if you guys would like to order one there using my link. And also, guys, if you're watching this video on your TV, you can't go into my description. You have to do it on your laptop or your cell phone, so appreciate that. And also, guys, one quick thing. Anybody interested in booking a private on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. I'll give you the details. Shoot me a private message. And I do most of my private lessons here in Missouri on Stockton and Table Rock Lake. And I teach anything you want to learn about, except for live scope. Anything you want to learn about bass fishing, we'll do it. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Okay, I wanted to do this video because I got a tournament this weekend, the Solo Pro Series tournament up at Stockton Lake. And tomorrow, the time to film this video is Friday night. So when you see this video tomorrow, yeah, it'll be Friday night when I post this. But tomorrow I'll be up there at Stockton on Saturday fishing, and the tournament's on Sunday. And I have no doubt that it's going to be the toughest day of the week because, guys, Saturday is the toughest day of the week to fish. And let me explain a little bit why. First of all, let me use Stockton as a prime example, sort of like the metamorphosis we've had in bass fishing. I have fished Stockton Lake. It's a 25,000 acre lake, just about 40 minutes from my house. Used to be really good. It's not that great anymore because it gets so much fishing pressure, but I fished it ever since the 70s, when I was in high school. And up until about probably, 10 years ago or something like that, the lake did not get much fishing pressure. It was a great lake full of fish. And then for whatever reason, like it has happened across the country, everybody just started going fishing. And now it used to be if I went up there anytime during the week, I'd never see a boat at the ramp. I'd have it to myself. And now anytime I go to the lake during the middle of the week, the ramp's full. Somebody explained to me why that is. But nevertheless, it has caused a situation where the bass have gotten wiser and smarter, and they're not any wiser and smarter than they are on Saturday. And I'm going to give you guys my theory why this is. Bass, and we've talked about this before, they have been on this planet for over 3 million years. In fact, some scientists put the lineage of the largemouth bass lineage, obviously they've evolved like all creatures do on the planet over time, but the lineage can be traced back to between 3 to 15 million years ago. If you are any species, you have got to adapt. You've got to adapt, and you've got to evolve to the changes in the environment and the challenges that you have to survive, or you're not going to survive as a species. So for the bass to have survived for millions of years on this planet, longer than humans have been on this planet, that tells you right there that they are smart. They fail quick, they learn quick, and they don't make mistakes very often. In doing so, that's the evolutionary process that we have seen with the bass right now in terms of how smart they get on the weekend. Now, the things that has made them smart is they pick up on noise and they pick up on movement on the water. Because think about this for example. If you're a bass and you're hatched out and you're this little baby fry swimming around when you're 2 or 3 days old, from the moment your egg hatches, you hear this noise on the water. You hear outboard motor noise. You hear jet skis. You hear pontoons. You hear trolling motor noise. You hear depth finder pings. All of this is, you don't know any different. If you're a bass, that's just part of your environment. So you evolve, and the bass have evolved to the point where those noise decibel levels increase at different days during the week. that turns them off the same way as a bad cold front. They don't see it as a premier or a prime feeding opportunity. So you can go to the lake, and I have seen this over and over again, guys. You can go to the lake during the week, and the fishing is always better. And that is because the noise decibel levels are lower. And those fish react to that, and they get into more of an aggressive feeding mode. But come the weekend on Saturday, that is not the case. You have the highest number of noise decibel levels, and the fish react to that. They get lethargic, they don't get aggressive, they don't chase as much. So talk a little bit about what you can do with it. First of all, one of the best ways that you can catch bass that are spooky and that are not aggressive like that is you got to fish on the bottom. You got to fish, or for suspended fish, but you have got to try to stay away from those moving lures as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying you can't catch them on a crankbait or something, but from what it's been my experience, that when Saturday rolls around, my crankbait fishing, my spinnerbait fishing, my chatterbait fishing, my topwater fishing, all of those baits that move horizontal through the water column, they're not as productive as they were during the middle of the week. And I find that my baits, like flipping a jig, flipping some type of soft plastic, shaky head, Ned rig, drop shot, whatever like that, it gets me more bites. Because when you have those higher noise decibel levels, the bass don't want to leave the safety of the cover that they're on to chase a bait. Now, I'm not talking about these roamers out in the middle of the lake that people are spotlighting. I'm talking about, half the bass in the lake that are using water 10 or 20 foot deep or less, that are sitting on targets like drop-offs, ledges, docks, stumps, grass beds, whatever, something like that. They simply don't want to get out away from that cover as much when those noise decibel levels increase. But ultimately, guys, this is just something you have to deal with. I mean, unless you fish a public or a private body of water that doesn't get any fishing pressure, if you're on a public body of water, you're going to have to sort of make an adjustment. Some other things you can do is, I have found that you can still catch them on a moving bait a little bit if you downsize. So going to a smaller crankbait or a smaller spinnerbait size, or just downsizing your trailer size on your chatterbait, or going to a smaller topwater, just anything like that to downsize tends to get you a little bit more bites on there. But overall, the best analogy I can give this to you is, how bass get, if you fish very long, you know this, after a bad cold front rolls around and you got the wind switches out of the north and it bluebird skies out, fishing gets tough. That's sort of what happens on Saturday. The fish react very similar to the noise increase levels as they do to a cold front. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys, and we'll talk later.